Hi, I'm Phil. Welcome back to today's installment of my Christmas vinyl Advent Countdown. To recap, this is day 7, and all of the vinyl that I'm taking a look at in this 24-day series are all records that I own and completely random. So there's no ranking. It's not number 1 is the best and number 24 is the worst or therein, but they are all worthy of having in your collection, which is why I'm presenting them to you today. You'll notice that some of them aren't the ones that you might be expecting. I'll tell you right off the front that you won't see Mariah Carey in my list, but there's others that maybe would be surprising, and that's the whole purpose of me doing this. Today's album is something that uh, is really beautiful and totally different than yesterday's heavy metal chaos. Today's pick is a really special in that it's a beautifully recorded wintry folk album with roots in medieval music, classical arrangements, and perhaps one of the greatest voices of the 1960s. It is a folk album. This Christmas album comes from one of the most important folk singers of the 1960s. The album itself comes from the year 1966. It stands out for its lack of what you would have expected for the Christmas album. It's like I said, it's classical, medieval, haunting. It's soothing. It's the type of record that you want to drop on your turntable with the candles lit, the bright, dawn light careening through the windows on a Sunday wintry morn. And the other thing about this is that the artist, she teamed with a very famous satirist, a Weird Al type figure, if you will. That's Peter Schickele, and he's better known for his PDQ Bach comedy routine, which if you've never seen, I highly recommend, or never listened to rather, I highly recommend. But that's a different story. But he helped compose the tracks on this album. It focuses heavily on traditional European um, compositions or Christmas carols. So you've got French, you've got Old English, you've got German, you've got Latin, including the languages themselves that this artist chose to sing them in. And many of them weren't widely known, and still perhaps I would say aren't widely known today. It's not the typical fare. No Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer to be seen here. It's authentic. It's got this old world style to it. It's not filled with commercialism, which is, I guess, the antithesis of the folk music, or that's what the folk music movement was about, I guess, is what I'm trying to say. But it's timeless, it's sacred, and it's a period piece. So it's timeless and it's a period piece. So it's both rolled in one. Um, it features a female vocalist, and her voice is front and center on this album with the music and the orchestral type music or the folk music that's behind her just resonating through the room in a folky Renaissance way. It's absolutely magical. Uh, One of the other fascinating things about this album is that it came like right in the midst of the folk revival. So this wouldn't have been a type of album that you would have been expecting from this artist. It's relatively early in her career, in her output as well. She had a spiritual angle to this. In fact, some of the songs you might say are feel like you're in a service to rejuvenate your soul and focus us on the meaning of the holiday, so to speak. It's absolutely fantastic. Now, there's no singles from this album, and I'm not aware if it charted on the Billboard or not. I could find a couple people who quoted that it had, but when I went to the actual Billboard charts, it doesn't show up on the Billboard charts. So, anyways, it either did at 70 something or 90 something, or it didn't at all. But it should have, nonetheless, because it's a fantastic album. It's not something that you hear a lot of on the radio. This artist and this album is a lot of times overtaken by the more jingoistic, not that's not the word I'm looking for, jingoistic, I don't know, the commercialism, as I've used that word already. But there are two tracks on this album that are absolutely fantastic. Down in Yawn Forest is one. It's absolutely mystical and magical and just resonates through the cavity up here. It's just fantastic. And then the Carol of the Birds, not the Carol of the Bells. Carol of the Bells being one of my favorites as far as Christmas music goes, but this is the Carol of the Birds. All right, enough with the suspense. You're probably dying to know. Don't die, please. It's Christmas. But let me reveal it to us here and see what you think. Of course, I'm talking about the fantastical, mystical musings of Joan Baez and her album Noel. Look at that cover alone, just with the candles, like I mentioned, absolutely awesome. And the awesome uh, rear of the album as well. The tracks are O Come, Emmanuel, Coventry Carol, The Little Drummer Boy, I Wonder as I Wander, Down in Yon Forest, The Carol of the Birds, Angels We Have Heard on High, Ave Maria. And this version of Ave Maria, I believe she sung it in German, and it's not the same lyrical content that you may be familiar with. Mary's Wandering with Deck the Halls playing in the background is an instrumental. Absolutely magical and fantastic. Away in a Manger, the first Noel, sung in French, I believe. So, Cantique de Noël, if I'm pronouncing that correctly. I don't know. If not, please forgive me. What Child Is This? And of course, Silent Night, much like the album from the other day with Stevie Nicks rounding it out with Silent Night. This version of Silent Night is much better than yesterday's version of Silent Night, which I said wasn't so silent. My ears are still needing a cleansing from that version of Silent Night. But that was the only ding on yesterday's album. But here we go with this fantastic album here. The inner is much like the Charlie Pride one as well, where it lists all of Joan Baez's albums. And it's funny because it's like you think of like Led Zeppelin 3 and Led Zeppelin 4, and you think of, the albums, Van Halen 1, Van Halen 2, and then Joan Baez 2. You got Joan Baez 5 is Joan Baez's fifth album. Anyways, very interesting. Oh, forgive me for that glare everywhere here. Yada. So, all right. This is it. This is day 7, I believe. I hope you absolutely found this enjoyable. If you've not listened to this, give it a spin, give it a listen, and let me know what you think in the comments below. Remember, like and subscribe really helps my channel grow, helps me and my algorithm. And watch another video. Probably right around here somewhere you're going to see something pop up that says, watch one of these. Thanks so much for tuning in, and remember, there's magic in the grooves. I'll see you next time.